have a little question I'd like to get an answer to when it comes to climate change or global warming, depending on what you want to call it. The United Nations has said that anthropogenic or man-made causes are the dominant cause of global warming. Dominant cause is a legal term borrowed from insurance law. So what you need to understand about the dominant cause is it means when there is more than one cause, it's which cause is the most responsible amongst the many. So if you have two causes, potential causes, or two actual causes, you would then determine which one was the greater of the two, and the dominant cause would have to be 51% or greater. If you have three causes, then the dominant cause would have to be larger than the other two causes. So it could be 33% something, 32% something, and 34% something, and the 34% cause would be the dominant cause amongst three causes. Now let's extrapolate that out to 20 possible things contributing to something. If there's 20, then theoretically something could be as small as a 5% cause. Now you could have something that's a 98% cause and the other 2% encompass the other 19 causes, so that something is 98% caused by something and there's 18 or 19 other causes, all of which add up to only 2%. Or with 20 causes, you could have a dominant cause as small as 5%. So as you can imagine, when you get out to 50 causes, the theoretical minimum dominant cause would be 2%. What am I saying by this? Well, take, for instance, some of the fruit roll-ups or other things you can buy at the store where the first ingredient is fruit. But then if you add up the other ingredients, it turns out that the item itself is actually made up of, let's say, 60 or 70% sweeteners. Fruit's just listed first because it's the dominant ingredient. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the biggest ingredient if you lump other things together. So let's bring this anthropogenic analysis back to global warming or climate change for a minute. The UN says man is the dominant cause of global warming. What is the relative percentage? That's all I want to know. Can any scientist, anyone out there, research or find, and I think there's a reason why we're not being told what it is what percentage, on a percentage basis of the many, many factors that contribute to the global warming problem, and as we know, the climate models take into account hundreds of things, the addition of carbon dioxide by man, and possibly the addition of methane by man, if we want to include that one in there, although there's no talk of regulating that, except for recently with the Obama administration talking about cows and farms. But let's talk about it for a minute. What percentage of global warming, if in fact is man-made or man-caused, is attributable to man and man-made issues or man-made causes? So again, let me rephrase it a little bit. If there are 50 different things that contribute to global warming, is man a dominant cause at 3%? Is he a dominant cause at 90%? Because here's the issue. If we're going to rework our entire economy and change our way of life, or even take billions and billions of dollars, which could be used for other things, and simply change around our economic system because that will prevent climate change and catastrophe, then that's one level of analysis. On the other hand, even if we are the dominant cause, but we're only 3% of the entire mix, and therefore 97% of global warming is driven by things outside of anthropogenic control, then it might not make sense to rejig our entire economy. So the entire debate, whether you're a scientist or a non-scientist, and whether you agree or disagree that man is contributing to global warming, would be to understand what the models say. And so again, in the UN report, they say that we are the dominant cause. Can anyone, and that's my challenge to you, can anyone out there tell me what percentage of the total or relative versus each other? Because we may not have exact numbers, but we certainly should be able to say man is, out of 20 causes, man is one of 20 causes, and he's the dominant cause at a rate of approximately 1/5 of all increases in global warming, or is it 1/100th? Is it 1/1000th? I would posit if we are only a small percentage of the change, even if we are driving global warming or climate change, if you remove the dominant cause, that doesn't mean that all the remaining causes won't continue to drive global warming to the point where there's a natural catastrophe and crops change and things fail and the oceans boil and all these things we're being told. Let me give you another example. Go back to the fruit roll-up. If I take the corn syrup out of the fruit roll-up, it might definitely be better for your kid, but there's still the high fructose corn syrup, the glucose, the sucrose, the fructose, the dextrose, and 8 other corn-based sweeteners in there. And so it probably doesn't make it healthy, and it probably doesn't change the outcome. Your kid's still going to get type 2 diabetes from eating too many of those things. And that's my point on global warming. Why won't anybody tell us what extent anthropogenic warming is, even if it's the dominant cause? And the fact that they use the term dominant cause is also what puts a red flag up for me. Because in the world of law, when you hear the term dominant cause, you're automatically agreeing that there was more than one cause. And so when we know that they say that global warming is something that's very delicate and intricate and related to hundreds of climate variables and other assumptions, you could very easily conclude that man is a dominant cause when we're less than 1% of the problem. So again, there's my challenge. Tell me what percentage of global warming and climate change is anthropogenic versus the remainder of what drives it. And when we get that answer, we can make rational decisions about our future. But until then, I wouldn't change the way we do business. Karl Rominger signing out.